I'm going to talk on this book called When Generations Collide. Anybody know this book? Heard of it? You all heard of diversity training, right? You have gender training, you have ethnicity training, you have socioeconomic training, you have cultural training. You know the training we don't have, and it's probably as big and as transparent as the rest of the diversities? It's generational. As this book says, there are 4 generations working and going to be continue to work in the workplace right now. First time ever. We're all called traditionalists. And the watchword for the generation of traditionalists is loyalty. When you went to work, you were going to work for the next 30, 35 years with the same company. For God and country, work ethic, chain of command, that sort of thing. 76 million were born from 1900 to 1945. The second one, we all know, from 46 to 64 were boomers. 80 million born in 18 years. 80 million. Their watchword was optimism. Opportunity. Woodstock. Let it all hang out. Let the sun shine in. They were, of course, the first ones that invented the overwork. They were the workaholics because they were climbing. They said it's all opportunity. Then what came is the Gen Xers, born from 65 to 80. Their watchword was skepticism. Why? They saw their organizations fall apart. Religious, political, Watergate. They saw the divorce rate triple in this time frame. So they're skeptics. Don't trust anybody. And now we have the new ones. They're called the millennials. 1981 to 1999. Their watchword is realism. They say, hey, they're the first generation that was raised with cell phones and internet. So they grow up, there are no boundaries. There are no boundaries. Does it cause friction in the workplace? Yes, because there are no boundaries. Is there opportunity? Yes, because there are no boundaries. The reason I did this way, that's where the friction is. Just like individuals, we form our view of the world around different components. One of the components is our generational background. Yes, it is cultural and that sort of thing, but our generational background. But what happens is, because we grew up in this generation, do you think there's traditionals who look at millennials who don't come in on time and say, what the heck's wrong with their work ethic? Okay, or the boomers, they say, slow down, take a breath. It isn't all about getting to the top. All right? Or the Xers, come on, be a team player. You look like you're talking about yourself. So what happens is the people who are in the generation tend to view that's the world. And they tend to look at the other generations and say, what the heck's wrong with you? That's a losing proposition. It's a losing proposition. So my question to you is, and my statement to you is, I don't believe in diversity training. I think it's good, but it's the wrong side of the coin. What I believe in is similarity training. What do you think's similar about all the generations? We all go through this life the same way, don't we? We get born, we go to school, we get a job, okay? And we work on a career, get married, have a family, get to the mature career, think about retirement, think about after retirement. Do you know that 40% of 65-year-olds are still working? What happens, though, is if we're all going down that path called life, how about turning it around so that we can, in fact, say, maybe we all got a good perspective. Maybe, in fact, instead of those jagged edges, okay? And it isn't anybody's fault. We all personally form our view of the world around the little bubble we're in. How we grew up with our family, what our dad did, what our mom did, and we grew up generationally. So the problem is, to establish our own footing, we have to say our world is right, our generation is right. In point of fact, the world's moving, so it has to be fluid. So we link arms together. And instead of looking at those darn millennials who won't come in on time, look at people who find no boundaries with technology. And the millennials, instead of looking at the traditionals like they're stuck in the mud and they won't move, look at them like maybe, just maybe, they've been through it. We have traditionalists here who can reflect back on previous phases of life as the millennials are coming up. In a collaborative fashion, my God, what could we share with each other if we lost the walls of being right or wrong? But it's going to take a lot of conditioning. It's going to take a lot of facilitating. They actually are calling the millennials the next great generation. Why? Because they have 3 generations in front of them to learn from. So if we could facilitate that, it would not only be better on the bottom line, it would be better for us.